keeps prices down far more effectively.
As long as suffering of sentient beings remains, I will remain in order to serve.
I imagined God like my grandfather.
In conversation this evening, my guest is a lawyer with a human face. With a profound commitment to the environment, he's initiated more than 50 cases involving public interest litigations dealing with the aspects of the environment. He's the winner of the Magsaysay Award. I'm delighted to welcome MC Mehta. In India we have this feeling of hopelessness that the judicial process is long-winded, goes on for eternity. What prompts you to sort of have faith that the judicial process will intervene in matters of public interest?
You see, in India we have the laws, but unfortunately these laws are not being implemented. And when all doors get closed, then for a citizen there is no other hope but to go to the court and seek justice. And I have firm faith in the judicial system in this country, and whatever environment has been protected so far, that has been protected through judicial action. We have the Water Pollution Control Act, we have Air Pollution Control Act, we have Environment Protection Act, and so many other laws, Forest Conservation Act. But unfortunately these all laws are on a paper, and nobody implemented these laws unless citizens went to the court.
But don't you think that ultimately in India sometimes we tend to have the feeling that a law is the solution to all problems? Surely this impetus to change must come from a social commitment, must come from a conscience, and that we don't look to the law to regulate everything.
You see that if we have made laws, then I believe that we should implement them, we should follow them. But here we are becoming more a lawlessness society. We don't believe in laws, and we try to get over from these laws. But court is the only way where we can go, and if there is violation of laws or the constitutional provisions, then we can of course go to the court and see that justice is done.
You're a lawyer. What prompts you to sort of focus on cases that involve primarily the environment? There's so many areas of injustice in India.
The environment, it was accidental thing that I entered into this field. One day I was in a social gathering, and there somebody came and he said that lawyers in this country, they are very greedy. They want to make money, and they see that these things are not done in favor of the community. So I looked at his face and I said, what is your problem? And he said, the Taj Mahal is dying and nobody is taking care of Taj Mahal. So frankly, at that time I had not seen the Taj Mahal. I had read in the history books. So I said, can you give me some information? He said, I will send you some information how the sulfur dioxide is affecting the monument and it is losing luster. So he sent me some clippings from Bombay. Mm-hmm. I have not seen that person from that day to today, and that was a turning point for me. I studied some of the clippings, but later on I studied various books on Mughal history and bought books on Taj Mahal, and then how the sulfur dioxide and toxic emissions they affect the monuments. So when I studied everything, then I filed the petition in the Supreme Court in '84.
I should point out that it was that petition that has led to the court order asking for the industries in the area, I think 9,000 of them to be relocated.
Yeah, but the court passed various orders, and in that now the refinery has to control pollution. Similarly, many other industries, they had to set up various pollution control devices and control pollution. And a green belt has been created around the Taj Mahal, and so many other things have happened, which will definitely protect the monument and the cultural heritage of that region.
So this, in a sense, does demonstrate that it was one individual, M.C. Mehta, went to the Supreme Court, filed a petition which had nothing to do with his own personal interests, but had to do with the historic monument and its preservation, and that led to action that goes towards preserving the Taj. Why is it that we as a community have to wait for an individual such as you to go up and initiate something that's so obviously in the public interest?
I feel that you see that we are passing through a very critical phase today, and unless more and more people they will not come out openly and take positive steps, the situation will worsen further. So I believe that the people have to come forward. If we only talk in the hotels or at the cocktails or at the dinner, it is not going to help us. We have to bell the cat. We have to come out, and we have to sacrifice. If we have achieved independence, because it was because of sacrifice of so many people, we could get it. And similarly, it is a second independence. For second independence, we have to fight. And this second independence, whether it is a corruption, whether it is adulteration, whether it is air pollution, water pollution, so many other crises which we are passing through.
What kind of sacrifices that have you had to make? Because when you take on vested interests of the magnitude that you do, surely there must be all kinds of pressures on you to yield to the larger.
Yes, I face so much tremendous pressures, and the people they threaten me. I receive so many phone calls, and so many things, shadowing, and all these things happen. But I believe in God. There is some hidden power, that is some supernatural power, which gives the strength. And I know that I am not doing anything wrong. I am treading on a right path, and that is my strength.
What kind of sacrifices, you talked about sacrifice, have you had to make? You could be spending your time being a lawyer who's being paid a lot of money for the things that you do and things that you might do. So apart from this obvious giving up of potential earnings,
you see, it is a question of need and greed. And I think that if we learn living within our needs, that is a great sacrifice in itself. Of course, when I fight cases in the court rooms, many opposite lawyers, they earn huge money. But what will they do with that money? After all, the money should be utilized for fulfilling your need, but not for fulfilling your greed. And I think that we are heading towards a greed. And so long as we try to live in greed, then I will lose that spirit of sacrifice. We have to do something which should be for the community's welfare, which should be fulfilling the needs and the dreams of the suffering millions.
Very often on cases like which involve the environment, there is the feeling that development involves inevitably some degradation of the environment, and we have to sort of balance the social costs. And particularly in the case, for example, of the argument on big dams, for example, has been that this is going to generate electricity for the poor. And there is an argument which says, no, it's not really going to generate electricity for the poor, it's just going to do it for the rich. Obviously, while this legislative process and the laws are an important aspect of trying to regulate what happens to the environment, it also has to do with this larger attitude and our objectives of development.
Yes, I think that we are having a lopsided development, and during these 50 years we have not progressed. This is no progress that we have made all our rivers polluted. We have made all our rivers, lakes, and the groundwater even polluted. Is this the model of development? That we will not have drinking water in another 2 or 3 years. The people are fighting over a bucket of water. In many parts of this country, even one bucket of water costs about 5 rupees. So if this is the developmental model presented by our politicians or bureaucrats, then I don't consider this as a model.
How serious is this problem of water?
This is a very serious. You see that we have no river left now which is clean. Even the holiest of the holy river, the Ganges, it is highly polluted. Similarly, the Yamuna, when it passes through Delhi, it is a dead river. It is no more a river. Similarly, all other rivers, they are facing the same situation. Even the groundwater, in 1972, the government of India introduced a bill in Parliament, and 72, and it is 1998. In 26 years, all these politicians, they did not have time to see that the bill is passed. And this is their notion of the development or of saving the groundwater in this country. And then I had to move a petition in the Supreme Court of India, and the Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment in 1996 directing the government of India to constitute an authority to regulate the entire groundwater of this country. So we should have the priorities. Right now, the natural resources are being depleted. We don't have even inventory of the natural resources in this country. We don't know how much resources we have depleted, how much resources we have left, and how wisely we have to utilize for future generations and for today. We don't.
You know, very often when the courts intervene, do you have the satisfaction, like setting up this national sort of water authority to regulate what happens to groundwater? Do you have the satisfaction that in fact, following this, there is substantial, tangible shift in the everyday experience of people in terms of what's happening to the environment?
Yes, when I started fighting these cases in '84, now the people have started talking. They are still they have not come out in open and talk the protest. But there are many places in the country where the people have started not only the drawing room discussions, but they have started protests also. And the bureaucrats and the politicians, they are taking notice of such protests. It is in Tamil Nadu I have seen in Andhra Pradesh, I have seen in many other places where the same situations are arising. Even in Odisha, I was recently in Talcher. Talcher, there is a superpower thermal power plant they have, and they have polluted the whole river. The Brahmani river has been totally polluted, and the people, they have lost their fish. The fishermen are suffering. The general people, those who are living in those areas, they are suffering. And I don't consider this as a model of development. I say that our model should be a model which should give livelihood to large number of population. It should not deprive the people of even of their natural resource. And natural resource, when I say the breathing clean air.
Well, look at the aspect of breathing clean air.
Yes.
That we've just recently had the government in Delhi introduce lead-free petrol for everybody, regardless of whether you have a catalytic converter or not. And opinion is divided. Some say that this is now going to release more benzene.
Yes.
So sometimes, isn't it often a case that you solve one problem, but you really create another, in the sense that you might solve the immediate the pollution of a river, but you're creating another problem of unemployment, maybe someone who doesn't have a job. that in fact the solutions to these are very complex and interwoven, and it's not just the intervention of a court that can take care of this. Important as it is, because it focuses attention on the issue, it galvanizes people, as you say, but surely we need to go further than this.
No, but that's why I say that after this 50 years of independence, we should have a complete introspection. We should have a frank and fearless review of all the developmental policies. But nobody is ready to do that. And they are presenting models after models that this is a model of success, this is a model of success. Ganga Action Plan was started in 1985. Up to this time, more than 550 crores of rupees have been spent, and without any results.
Why do you think this has happened? Has this just been sort of money wasted because of corruption? Has this been because we haven't sufficiently focused on what it is we wanted to do? Because there was great hope from the Ganga Action Plan.
It has failed, and now the government of India has launched National River Conservation Program, and where they are going to spend another 2,500 crores. And they are saying that since we have succeeded in cleaning Ganga in action first phase, so we are replicating the same.
So why did the Ganga Action Plan fail?
It failed because there was no transparency, there was no accountability, there was no right to know any information, and there was no involvement of people in the whole project. So as a result of that, only bureaucrats from Delhi were going and giving jobs to or work to A or B agency, and those agencies were not accountable to anybody. As a result of that, even Varanasi, which is a holiest of the holy city and one of the oldest city in the world, and from where this project was started in 85, it is the condition over there is same as it was in 1985. So this is the situation. Crematoriums, electric crematoriums, they set up, and they are not functioning. Wherever the treatment plants they set up, either they are not functioning or there is no electricity to run them. So all these projects which were started with great hope, these are not giving any results because there is no frank and fearless discussion on these issues.
And the need to be looking at holistic solutions. So you can't just relocate a crematorium, you can't just relocate an industry without providing the other things that go with it. To what degree do you consider yourself a lawyer and how much of an environmentalist?
You see that I say that everybody is an environmentalist because you, me, everybody, every living creature in this world needs oxygen to breathe, air to breathe, and water to drink. So if you or anybody else, if anybody says that no, I don't need air to breathe, then I will say you are not environmentalist. Or if you say that you don't drink water at all and you can live without water, then I say fine, you are not environmentalist. I say that we are all environmentalists. We have to be concerned because it is a question of our survival. It is a question of the survival of this planet Earth.
You mentioned God earlier in our discussion. In what form or manner do you believe in God, and how does God drive and inspire you?
I don't go to the temple. I don't go anywhere, but I have an innate faith, and I say that whatever actions I am doing, these are some inspiration. And who is giving me inspiration, I don't know. So that's why I have an innate faith in somebody, and that is God.
You've mentioned in some of your earlier sort of writings and interviews the impact that Vivekananda has had on you and the inspiration that he has provided you.
Yes, Vivekananda, of course, Vivekananda, and then Subhash Chandra Bose, and so many Gautam Buddha, and so many great people. They have helped a lot. But again, I say that it is how we perceive. If we start learning only one simple principle, and that one simple principle is that to know truth, to speak truth, and to do good for today and for the future. If we think, I think even if we adopt practicing this one simple principle each day of our life, we can change the behavior of so many people. because truth is a greatest force. And whatever cases I have fought all these cases on the basis of truth. And that is the greatest strength with me.
What about the family and how they participate in this battle for truth against very substantial, vested interests who will be constantly seeking in ways fair and unfair to sort of constrain you, because you obviously tread on many vested interests and many toes?
Yes, you see that my family, they are very supportive, and my wife, she is a great inspiration to me, my daughter, but many times they also get fed up because I spend about 16 hours to 18 hours every day. Morning, as soon as I get up, even many times I don't go for exercise, I don't walk, and they even get so upset. They say that, what are you doing? You are killing yourself. So that way, I feel very, and I try to listen to them, but again, it is that I can't, because I have so many commitments to fulfill. So, but they are sometimes they help me, and sometimes they get fed up, and sometimes they we have a very different situations, And what I say that whenever now in green marches, I have walked more than 2,000 kilometers distances every year. I do. I could motivate more than the children and so many people, and I could succeed in planting more than 1 million trees. And working, I could work in many villages and so many. But wherever such programs, such things, major events took place, they stood by me.
How do you make a living? You spend so much of your time working for the community and for other people.
You see, living again, I told you that it is a question of need and greed. And again, I have limited my needs. So within those needs, I try to fit in.
What aspirations, you've initiated more than 50 public interest cases. Do your aspirations reach out beyond going to the courts and trying to get them to intervene? In some cases, you've sort of equally constructive aspects of going in there and planting trees and a closer relationship with nature. What agenda do you have for yourself?
Now we have, this year I have an agenda that is going on. That is National River Conservation Campaign, and it was launched on 1st January from Mathura Vrindavan. And I have covered many areas so far, and right now the campaign is going on in Faridabad district, because we are touching Jamuna. Jamuna is passing through that area, and Jamuna has no water from October to June each year, and then there is nothing but only a sewage water, and this sewage water goes to Mathura Vrindavan, and there at least 20 million people, they take bath every year at Mathura Vrindavan, because it is a land of Lord Krishna. So when I saw there the stinking water, I was so upset. Similarly, when I went to Varanasi, I saw the situation is same. I saw in many other rivers, whether it is Kaveri or whether it is Godavari or whether it is any other river. So you feel so bad. And then I thought that this year we should try to create awareness in the country on the water issue, and that water is that how the water is valuable for everybody. How should we conserve water, and the role of children to conserve water, to protect rivers, to do things. So for that we are trying to further go into different areas and spread this message that conserve water, protect rivers, protect water bodies, and protecting them is protecting ourselves.
Thank you very much.